going to start by going back a little bit because there's been two incredibly significant points in the last few years. And the first one we'll remember was the 12th of January 2020, COVID began, and that was Pluto, don't forget Pluto, with Saturn. It was, let's get my notes so I get it all right. Yes, it was Saturn conjunct Pluto. So Saturn, one of the hardest, the kind of the ruler of the government and the status quo and control and everything else, in a negative relationship with Pluto, the planet of transformation. And so we started on this whole, that was the shift. And we knew then that before and after would be different kind of, just a whole different feel in the world. Now the next one that I thought was really significant was again Pluto, and this time it was Mars square Pluto, which happened on the 8th of October this year. Anyone remember what happened on the 7th of October? Yes. So Israel fighter. So that was both of those incredibly easy to predict. Mars is the god of war, as many of you will know. Again, in a challenging relationship to Pluto transformation. And so we can speak a little bit more about that particular situation at the end, perhaps, Liz, huh? So I'd like to, the main thing that is happening now is that we are going to change the whole era of man because we are going into Pluto into Aquarius. And because Pluto moves so slowly, 248 years per cycle, it's about 15 to 20 years in each sign. Pluto is very elliptical, so sometimes it's longer, sometimes it's shorter. It's been in Capricorn not that long, 15 years, since 2008. Probably lucky because, again, Capricorn is the government, the rules, the status quo, making rules and regulations, control, trying to limit the freedom of people. And so we are coming in the death throes of that now. And we are in 29 degrees of it at the moment, that very last degree. And so you could say that the powers that be, I like to call them the old greybeards, are kind of hanging on for dear life as they slide by the end of their nails down the cliff. They can't succeed, and that is the good news, don't forget that. Because we are going into partly into the age of Aquarius, Pluto in Aquarius, for 22 years until 2044. So rest of my life probably, and it's a very different kind of energy. Aquarius is regarded as community, as friends, as hopes and wishes. It's the new age, it's technology, it's new discoveries, it's all sorts of really quite exciting things. And it's very much power from the bottom up. It's power to the people. So they don't stand a chance, actually. But they're going to make a really good try at it. And they have got a couple of windows. So they have got until the 21st of January, they being, I'll call them the cabal, not exactly the governments, but the cabal behind the governments. So on the 21st of January 2024, Pluto goes into Aquarius. And so if they want to make significant changes, they need to do some stuff now. So until then. And then it stays in Pluto for the next January, February, March, April, May, June, July, and then on the 11th of September, Pluto goes back into 29 degrees. It just stays in that 0, 1, 2, even it reaches this next year 3 degrees of Pluto, but just this very small window, 28 to 3 degrees, 5 degrees movement of Pluto in a year. And so on the 11th of September, Pluto goes back into Capricorn. It goes to that 29 degrees, and that is known as, traditionally it's known as the malefic number, that 29, the dangerous one, the terrible one, the difficult, challenging one. And so we go back there, and it's interesting because the Wall Street crash of the 29th of October 1929 happened on 29 degrees and 37 minutes of Pluto in Cancer, which is opposite Capricorn. So it was a Pluto opposed, and this is a Pluto conjunct, but not so different, a similar energy. So I don't think it'll be exactly the same kind of thing because it's a little different, but we could expect, and I think I've got later on the exact, yes, it's the 7th of October that we go exactly to the same degree again, and 29 degrees and 37 minutes. So, not necessarily a crash, could be the beginning of a recession, or it could be them trying to bring in this digital currency, centralized digital currency, that could happen then. So, this, because we're going back into that 29 and then goes to 28 degrees, September, October, November next year are all going to be quite dangerous for society in some ways, because that really is their last chance. If they want to make significant changes to control us, as they were trying to do with COVID, then they have to do it either now until the 21st of January or September, October, November. 11th of September goes in, 21st of November, easy to remember because 21st of January goes in and then 21st of November goes in again for the next 22 years. So they've just got to use that window. Now, of course, we've got November the 5th, the American election. I think it was yesterday, Colorado said that Trump can't stand, but of course it'll go before the Supreme Court and they will change that. But, if they stop Trump, who's getting something like 60% popularity, there's going to be revolution in the States. Now, the really interesting thing that's happening this next year, besides Pluto, which is the big picture, is that Jupiter is trine Uranus. Now, Jupiter is the planet of enjoyment and benevolence, and I always feel like it's sort of jovial, jocular Jupiter. And he can be a bit over the top, he can be a bit extreme, he can be too much, but basically he's really good luck. And when he is in trine, in a positive relationship with Uranus, Uranus is the planet of uniqueness, off-the-wallness, innovation, discoveries, freedom of the people, power to the people. So it's interesting because at exactly the same time as we've got the September, October, November challenge of the status quo trying to bring in the control again, at the same time we've got Jupiter trining Uranus. And one of the last times that Jupiter did that with Uranus was in 67, 68. How many people remember what happened then? 1967, 1968, it was the power of children, it was the hippies, it was free love, it was great. My private, a wonderful time. LSD came in, but also Vietnam, massive protests, not just protests in America, but in many places there were protests, and also a lot of freedom for women coming out, blacks fighting for freedom. Where was Martin Luther King? He must have been around there.
Eastern Europe.
And Eastern Europe. So there was a whole pile of amazing things that happened that the status quo didn't like, fighting against the status quo. So we've got those two together. So it makes me think that they really do try. September, October, November, that I will go for the digital currency then, and I'll go for like the beginning of them bringing in a kind of recession and all sorts of challenging things, trying to limit the freedom of government. Maybe in November they even try and stop the election happening if they think that they haven't managed to stop Trump beforehand, that something will happen, maybe another false flag or something like that they try and stop it with. And there's going to be massive protests, worldwide massive protests. So it's going to be quite exciting time, quite turbulent and challenging, and of course whether Mullumbimby really feels that or not is something else, but we can listen to the news. So So what happened when Pluto was in Aquarius last time, because that gives you an idea of what may happen again? Well, 1776, anyone? Bill of Independence, America breaking off from Britain, actually fighting them because the king was trying to collect too many taxes. And so that whole fight happened, and then the whole Bill of Rights came out of that, which thank God still helps America so much today. So that was an Aquarius. It was a Pluto in Aquarius. And then Pluto in Aquarius was same period, 1789, fall of the Bastille, no more King Louis XVI, off with the head Marie Antoinette, you know, if they haven't got bread, feed them cake, no idea what's going on. Another period was Henry VIII, was also a Pluto in Aquarius, the end of the Catholic Church for Britain, a huge move. You know, granted he did it because he just wanted to marry another wife, but it took England out of the control of the Catholic Church, which was a major, you know, brilliant thing probably. So that was good. And then also Copernicus. And it's interesting because, so there was a major shift in the attitude of humanity and mankind at that time. Imagine suddenly, you know, we're not all, the whole thing doesn't revolve around the earth, it's around the sun. A major shift in consciousness. And I would like to put a word in for one of my teachers, Nassim Haramein, who has become quite more prolific recently and has put out again another paper expressing his theory of everything in physics. And also he's working on a free energy device. He's got one, he made it ages ago, but can he get it out? You know, free energy for the planet would be very Aquarian and would revolutionize a lot of things. That might happen with the Jupiter Uranus, because Uranus is technology and energy as well, so that could bring that out. Maybe they won't be able to put down, you know, people running their cars on water. You know, I've got a friend in Bali who's run his car on water for years. So, you know, that sort of thing Aquarius is going to help pull out. So I feel like Nassim might well do a Copernicus number, you know, where it shifts totally. At the moment, they're wondering if the Big Bang even happened, you know, because of the new, what's it called?
James Webb Telescope.
Thank you, James Webb Telescope out there. So that would be a major shift, you know, if we didn't all start at the Big Bang. I like that. Always thought the Big Bang was wrong. Anyway, so there you go. So now, and then also it's pretty interesting because with this Jupiter conjunct Uranus, so that goes in on the 6th of May. So we've got this gap. Things may be fairly smooth, January, February, March. But then April is loads of stuff, and May. So on the 6th of May, you get this at 22 degrees. If any of you have major things in 22 degrees, it's in Taurus. So if any of you have 22 degrees in a fixed sign, that will be on your ascendant or your midheaven or your sun. That will be a major impact on you, and super positive and super lucky. Wow. And especially, so it's a kind of a turning point, to use my favorite phrase. It's a turning point in mankind's history, again, May. And it's a pivotal point where things can really shift and change, and it's a kind of opportunity for mankind's evolution in a big way, and a cultural awakening. And if you have that 22 degrees something or other of something important, moon, sun, ascendant, midheaven, or Jupiter or Uranus, then I would suggest that you do the lottery. Like, it can be really lucky. And if you do have a strong aspect of that, you know, you may never done a lottery ticket in your whole life, just do it, you know, do one every day for that week or something, because it really is like a good opportunity to...
It's also when the WHO thing comes down, you know, how they're going to take over all health management internationally. So that's May the 24th, I think.
Oh, all right, that's interesting. And then the 16th of May is an even more auspicious date, because not only do you have the Jupiter conjunct Uranus, but also right next to in the sky is the Sun and Venus. And that little conjunction of powerful planets together is really near Pleiades. So anyone who's more esoteric or who, likes to follow advice that we might get through some literature from the Pleiades, it could be, again, this opportunity for massive awakening. The Pleiades comes up so much in ancient history and so on. So that whole of May, 6th, 16th, good to remember, important. Now, at the same time, also it's amazing because that War of Independence and the Bill of Rights, it had the Pluto in Aquarius, but it also had a Jupiter-Uranus. It had the same, Jupiter conjunct Uranus. And so did the Bastille then. So, that's again this quite an important aspect along with the Pluto. Now also, Israel has Jupiter conjunct Uranus on its sun sign. And it's in the 8th house, which is quite a powerful house of life and death and rebirth and so on. And so I would say it could happen in either way because it's that lucky thing, but because it's Uranus unpredictable, I would say that it's either that a third country gets involved, so we presume that might be America that's just given them an extra 14 billion. So either that happens or it ends. So let's just really hope some major shift. So either it escalates, shift, or it ends, shift. And I can't tell which. I'd have to study the chart of Israel, which I didn't do. And that's this whole May. I don't have the exact date of Israel's. I should have printed it out, but I didn't. But yes, interesting. And then also the chart of Europe also has Jupiter conjunct Uranus right on top of their moon in the 10th house, and for the astrologers here, opposing Pluto conjunct Mars in the 4th house. And so I think because it's the moon, I think that might well be it's like divorce, only countries divorcing. So like separation. So I think we'll find a couple of countries more leave the EU. I don't know which. Hungary might get chucked out or leave. Yeah, Hungary's holding it. Any other?
Turkey.
Okay, yeah, that would be. So yes, I think we might find there's some separation. So that's May, again, not that long ago. So Jupiter conjunct Uranus every 14 years. It's not that unusual. So we said the Bastille and the Bill of Rights. Also 1941, the peak of World War II. Don't quite know what that means. Just lost my place. Here we go. And then, as I said, 1968, which was this wonderful kind of jump in consciousness and an awakening to our freedom. And then it also happened 2010-11, which was Arab Spring. And Greece being in trouble with that wonderful foreign minister, whatever his name was. Yeah. And also Donny the sheep got cloned. So I would imagine that we may have in May again a lot more cloning. Now whether there's cloning insects for us to eat or what, but that kind of energy of cloning. And then we go on to June. Pluto then trines Jupiter. Pretty nice, pretty lucky. Good for wealth, good for finding a teacher for yourself with that. If you felt like you wanted a bit of assistance in your life in staying centered and so on, it's a great time to travel, to find some sort of guru or teacher or qigong teacher or what, any kind of teacher. It's a great time to do that. And it's also quite galactic, so I wonder if we won't get some more revelations about UFOs and aliens and things coming this way. So if you want to invest in anything, or you want to buy Bitcoin or something like that, which is up to 65,000 Australian, 45,000 US at the moment, then do it before June, or do it before July. So a good time to invest in things, especially if you've got good aspects, is in that May time, like, you know, invest, jump ahead and get that in. But don't do any invest or risk any money after, like, September, October, November. Keep everything just safe and pinned down at that time. We have, so not only does America have its election on the 5th of November, Israel's election has been postponed for 3 months to the 30th of January. And India is having its election in April or May 2024. So that's 3 major countries with. So what's this Uranus in Aquarius going to mean? I'm just going to throw some words out because, so we've said the UFOs, transporters, Uranus in Aquarius, going to totally change aviation. We'll have much quicker ways of traveling, I think. Flying cars. We're already beginning to be able to talk to animals, like through AI. We're being able to study the language of dolphins and whales, and people are beginning to be able to work out. AI is being able to work out what they're saying, so we'll have communication with animals. You'll be able to digitally, like this talk could be digitally translated into, you know, many languages all at the same time and put out. That's exciting.
Did you, sorry, you said Uranus in Aquarius.
I can't quite hear, so can we say the questions at the
Uranus
end?
in Aquarius, but do you mean Uranus in Gemini or
Pluto in Aquarius.
Pluto in Aquarius, I meant.
Pluto? Sorry, you said Uranus.
Thank you very much. Good job, Sophie. I need the astrologers to keep me on track.
Thank you.
So yeah, robots, like Elon Musk is putting out a robot now that's 25,000, and he reckons next year, and he reckons that he'll sell more of them than his cars, Tesla cars. Massive changes in migration and immigration. Yes, a couple of days ago, 4,500 people were on the southern American border actually being processed. So there was probably another 5,000 or so at the border. Photographs of massive,
it's like a huge festival.
Yeah. So we've got about 10,000 people a day coming into America. So that's migration changes. Changes in, because of AI and technology, maybe school systems, or children will start being educated at home more, all online. Buildings going to change massively, 3D printing, maybe just in time to come up with cheap housing, you know, just print them out and box them up. Vertical vegetable growth, so saving on water and so on. AI helping us clean up the world, clean up the oceans, do masses of things like that will help. And I think though, well, maybe recession 2020, 25, 26. Oh, I'll go into why I haven't got time. Okay, I think that. So then we may well have in September floods. We've got lunar eclipse in Pisces conjunct Neptune, floods, illusion, deceit. A lot of Neptune in 29 degrees. So again, this ending. Of course, 29 degrees of Neptune in Pisces, where it's been at the moment, is the very last degree of the whole cycle. So that again points to this new period, this new birth, this turning point, this pivotal point in mankind's history where things change. So that's pretty exciting, because then Neptune will go into Aries, which is much more pioneering and personal strength and taking authority and, you know, standing up for ourselves and not even listening to these authority figures.
When is it happening?
And also it's a wood dragon year, Chinese, which is also taking your own personal authority, leadership, resilience to authority, standing up for yourself. So wood dragon year next year, that's good. So yeah, it's going to be a pretty interesting year. I think I'm going to, I've got a bit more here, but I think I might end there. just saying really that it really does seem like, we started really with this Saturn-Pluto in 2020 and the Saturn-Jupiter cycle then, and so the beginning of the change was then revealed by the whole COVID thing, but now it's like we are breaking out of that. We are really coming into this new age of humanity, looking at it in many ways, and quite a revolutionary stand up for ourselves, and also the possibility of, as we are seeing, almost a mass awakening, and COVID gave us that, because so many ordinary people started going, well, hang on a minute, what do I think? I'm not necessarily going to listen to the government and other people's authority anymore. I'm going to stand on my own 2 feet and make my own decisions. And so I think that awakening really continues now as we go into Pluto, into Aquarius, the power of the people, community strength. Maybe we have a bifurcation of society, those that continue following and those that don't. And so we may have a bit of a distinction happening in society where it's a bit more divided, but at the same time, we'll be fine in Mullumbimby.